Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are diving into some of the most essential data cleaning tools in PySpark trim, ltrim and rtrim. If you've ever found yourself working with messy strings full of unwanted spaces, then this video is for you. We'll explore how these powerful functions can help you remove extra spaces, clean up your data, and make it more consistent for analysis. Let's jump right in. Introduction to trimming functions. In PySpark, working with text data often involves cleaning and formatting strings, and extra spaces can be a common issue, particularly when dealing with user input or external data sources. This is where the ltrim, and rtrim functions come into play. These functions are designed to remove unnecessary spaces in strings, helping to tidy up your data for accurate processing. The trim function is the most comprehensive of the three. It removes any spaces that appear at both the beginning and the end of a string. This is especially useful when strings contain unwanted leading or trailing white space, which can lead to issues in data matching or analysis. The ltrim function, on the other hand, focuses solely on reading spaces. It removes any spaces from the left side of the string while leaving the right side unchanged. This can be useful in situations where data entry may have inadvertently added extra spaces at the start but not at the end. Similarly, the rtrim function deals with trailing spaces. It removes any spaces from the right side of the string while preserving spaces or text on the left. This is commonly used when data includes extra space padding at the end, which could interfere with string comparisons or formatting. Together, these functions offer a simple and effective way to clean up string data, making them essential tools for anyone working with text-heavy datasets in PySpark. Basic syntax. In PySpark, the trim, ltrim, and rtrim functions can be easily applied to data frames to clean up strings by removing unwanted spaces. The basic syntax for these functions involves importing them from PySpark.sql.functions, which allows you to use these trimming functions directly on columns in a data frame. For instance, to use the trim function, which removes both leading and trailing spaces from a column, you can apply it as follows: dataframe.select trim column.ls trim and underscore column. This command selects the specified column, applies the trim function to remove spaces from both ends, and then renames the resulting column as trimmed underscore column. This is particularly useful for standardizing strings that may have been affected by inconsistent spacing, often a problem with user inputs or raw text data. Similarly, the ltrim function focuses on removing only the leading spaces from a string. This can be done by using the syntax dataframe.select ltrim column.ls left underscore trim underscore column. Here only the spaces at the beginning of the string are removed and the new column is labeled left underscore trim underscore column. This function is helpful when you know that your data might have extra spaces at the start, possibly due to formatting errors. For removing trailing spaces, you can use the rtrim function with the syntax dataframe.select rtrim column.ls right underscore trim underscore column. This will eliminate spaces at the end of the string and rename the column right underscore trim and underscore column. This is particularly important in cases where strings may have been padded with spaces at the end, which could cause issues during string comparison or when formatting text. Why use trimming functions? Trimming functions play a crucial role in data cleaning and preparation, especially when dealing with string data that might have inconsistencies due to extra spaces. When working with user inputs, text files, or external data sources, it is common to encounter strings with unintended spaces at the beginning or end, which can create issues when comparing, displaying, or further processing the data. Even a single extra space can cause mismatches in string comparisons or disrupt the alignment of text when displaying data in reports or user interfaces. Using trimming functions like trim, ltrim, and rtrim helps ensure that string values are clean and consistent. By removing unnecessary spaces, these functions eliminate potential discrepancies, making it easier to match strings accurately or format them properly for output. In data cleaning pipelines, trimming functions are often applied as a first step, particularly when working with raw data that has been inconsistently formatted or where input errors may have occurred. These functions are especially useful in scenarios where spaces have been unintentionally added during data entry, formatting, or manipulation. By applying trimming early in the data processing workflow, you ensure that your data is standardized, reducing the risk of errors in downstream tasks like analysis, reporting, or visualization. Overall, trimming functions contribute significantly to cleaner, more reliable data sets. Practical examples. 1. Trimming leading and trailing spaces. In this example, we are using the trim function in PySpark to remove leading and trailing spaces from a column in a data frame. First, a sample data frame is created using spark.createDataFrame, which contains a single column name with values that have extra spaces at both the beginning and the end of the string. The names John, Jane, and Tom are intentionally padded with spaces to simulate real world scenarios where data might contain unnecessary white space due to manual input or formatting errors. Next, the trim function is applied to the name column using the select method. The trim function removes any extra spaces from both ends of each string. In this case, the column name is processed and the resulting cleaned up values are displayed in a new column named trim_name. The alias function is used to rename the column after applying the trimming operation. So when the result is displayed using the show method, you can see the new column trim_name with the cleaned up data. After applying trim, the names will appear without any leading or trailing spaces. This process ensures that the names are standardized and ready for further analysis, comparison, or display without any inconsistencies due to extra white space. This example highlights how easily you can clean string data in PySpark using the trim function, making it an essential part of data preprocessing when dealing with inconsistent or messy text data. 2. Removing reading spaces with ltrim. In this example, we are focusing on removing only the leading spaces from the name column in a PySpark data frame using the ltrim function. The dataset is the same as before with the name column containing strings such as John, Jane, and Tom, all of which have extra spaces at the beginning. The ltrim function specifically targets these leading left side spaces, removing them while leaving any trailing spaces intact. This operation can be useful in cases where user input or raw data contains unnecessary spaces at the start of a string, but where the spaces at the end may have some intended significance or can be handled separately. In this example, we use the select method to apply ltrim to the name column. After the operation, the newly processed column is renamed to left_trim_name using the alias function to reflect the changes. This makes it easy to differentiate the modified column from the original. When the results are displayed using the show method, you will see that the leading spaces have been removed from the names, leaving the strings clean on the left side but preserving any spaces on the right. For example, John becomes John and Jane becomes Jane with only the left side spaces trimmed away. This operation is particularly helpful in data cleaning workflows where leading spaces might cause issues during text alignment, comparison, or other downstream processes. The ltrim function ensures that your data is left aligned without any unwanted leading spaces. 3. Removing trailing spaces with rtrim. In this example, we are using the rtrim function in PySpark to remove trailing right side spaces from the name column in a data frame. The dataset remains the same with names like John, Jane, and Tom, each containing extra spaces both before and after the actual text. The rtrim function specifically targets the trailing spaces, leaving any leading spaces intact. When applied, rtrim removes only the spaces found at the end of each string, ensuring that the right side of the text is clean and free of unwanted white space. This is particularly useful when dealing with data that has been padded on the right side due to formatting issues or user input errors. In certain scenarios, trailing spaces can cause problems during string matching, sorting, or when presenting data in a formatted output, making it essential to clean them up. In this example, we apply rtrim using the select method on the name column. The result is renamed to right underscore trim and underscore name using the alias function to clearly indicate that only the right side spaces have been removed. When we display the result using the show method, you'll notice that names like John are now John with trailing spaces removed, while the leading spaces remain untouched. For instance, Jane becomes Jane and Tom becomes Tom. This process ensures that any trailing spaces which could affect data consistency or formatting are eliminated, making the data cleaner for further processing or display. The rtrim function is particularly helpful when right side whitespace might interfere with tasks such as exporting data to reports, aligning text, or performing string comparisons. 4. Combining trim, ltrim, and rtrim. In this example, we are applying all three trimming functions trim, ltrim, and rtrim on the name column of a PySpark data frame simultaneously. This approach allows us to see how each function works and the distinct results they produce in cleaning up the string data by handling spaces at different positions. The select method is used to apply these functions to the name column. First, the trim function is applied, which removes both leading and trailing spaces, cleaning the string completely. Next, the ltrim function is used to remove only the leading spaces, those at the beginning of the string, while keeping the trailing spaces intact. Finally, the rtrim function removes the trailing spaces, those at the end of the string, leaving the leading spaces untouched. By renaming each result using alias, we create three new columns: trim and underscore name for the result of trim, left underscore trim underscore name for the result of ltrim, and right underscore trim underscore name for the result of rtrim. When we display the result using the show method, we can observe the different outcomes of applying each function. For example, a name like John will be transformed into John in the trim underscore name column, where both leading and trailing spaces are removed. In the left underscore trim underscore name column, the result will be John with only the leading spaces removed, while in the right underscore trim underscore name column, the result will be John with only the trailing spaces removed. This example demonstrates how PySpark's trimming functions can be used together to achieve different levels of string cleanup depending on the specific requirements of your data. It's especially useful when dealing with data inconsistencies where some strings may need full trimming while others may require more selective cleanup. This flexibility ensures that the string data is standardized and ready for accurate comparison, processing, or display. 5. Trimming spaces and concatenating strings. In this example, we are demonstrating how to clean up string data using the trim function and then concatenate it with another string using the concat function in PySpark. The data frame df underscore means two columns, first underscore name and last underscore name, with names such as John, Jane, and Tom. As you can see, the first underscore name column contains extra spaces around the names, which we need to remove before combining the first and last names. The trim function is applied to the first underscore name column to remove any leading or trailing spaces from the values. Once the spaces are removed, the concat function is used to combine the cleaned first underscore name with a literal space and the last underscore name column. The lit function is used to insert a single space between the first and last names, ensuring proper formatting. The select method is used to apply this logic to the data frame, and the resulting concatenated values are assigned a new column name, full underscore name using the alias function. When the results are displayed using the show method, we get a properly formatted full name for each individual, with any extra spaces removed from the first name and a single space inserted between the first and last names. For example, the original name John in the first underscore name column is cleaned and combined with Doe from the last underscore name column to produce John Doe. Similarly, Jane becomes Jane Smith and Tom becomes Tom Brown. This example demonstrates how trimming and concatenating can be effectively used together to ensure clean and properly formatted string data, which is essential for creating consistent and readable outputs. 6. Handling null values in trimming. In this example, we are dealing with a data frame that contains both string values and null values, and we want to trim the string data while ensuring that the null values are handled properly. The data frame df underscore with underscore nulls consists of a single column, name, which includes values like John, a none value representing null, and Tom with extra spaces around the string values that need to be cleaned up. To achieve this, we use the trim function, which removes leading and trailing spaces from the string values in the name column. Importantly, the trim function in PySpark is designed to handle null values gracefully, meaning that it will leave null values unchanged rather than attempting to process them, which could lead to errors or unexpected results. In the example, we apply the trim function using the select method to create a new column called trimmed underscore name. The alias function is used to rename the column to indicate that the values have been trimmed. When the result is displayed using the show method, we see that the string values John and Tom have been cleaned of any extra spaces, becoming John and Tom respectively. At the same time, the none value remains untouched, ensuring that null values are preserved in their original form. This approach is particularly useful when working with datasets that may contain nulls, as it allows us to clean string data without introducing complications or errors due to missing values. By using the trim function in combination with PySpark's null handling capabilities, we can efficiently clean our data while maintaining the integrity of any null values. That wraps up our look at the trim, ltrim, and rtrim functions in PySpark. As you've seen, these functions are incredibly handy for cleaning string data and ensuring everything is formatted just right. Whether you're processing customer names, addresses, or any text data, trimming spaces can help you avoid headaches down the road. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more PySpark tips and tricks. See you in the next one.